Goodell. Oh, no.
He actually hand.
Oh, and he lifted him up. Wow.
Hey. The weight, I think the weight got to him a little bit. Good for him. He's off.
That's the last pick for Roger. I think he's going to have to tag
Needs a backiotomy.
Oh, yeah, that's right, baby. The old backiotomy. That's right. We're here. Yo, yo, yo. What's up? It's Chris Simms. It's Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Ahmed Fareed is here. Whoa, that was horrible. Let's do that again. Boom. Okay.
We've always
It's Monday after the draft. We're going to fill you in on all the things we like, didn't like of the draft, hit on all of that. My knee is feeling better. I don't need a backiotomy. What was that? Was that Tyler Booker pulling up Roger Goodell and giving him the bear hug?
No, Malachi Starks.
Malachi Starks.
He waited a long time.
Waited a long
end of the
time.
first round.
Got him. Got a little rough with Roger. It's the only time in your life you're going to be able to get rough with him, so you might as well do it then. But it was a great weekend. It was a lot of fun. It was, I thought, one of the more entertaining drafts ever. And, of course, we know one of those reasons was Shedeur Sanders. We'll hit on that. But also just so many good players and a lot of good themes to the draft, too.
It was a fun time in the barn. You and Connor did a great job breaking down the guys that all got taken. So, it was fun. We kept it professional.
I think so.
We really did.
I mean, I only had a few sips of liquor. I mean, that's it. I was about as professional as you expect me.
It's busier than you ever remember, right? For me, I used to think we had a lot of downtime in between picks, and like by the time we set up all the cameras and the lights, we were like going the whole time.
By the time you get done explaining one pick, you look up and they go, "Oh, the other pick's in."
Yeah.
And you're getting ready to make another video. That's how we did it. So it almost seems like just one kind of long rolling 4-hour podcast to a degree. But it is fun. And Friday night, rounds 2 and 3 were great as well. So many good players, some Chris Simms extraordinaires in those rounds that I certainly liked. And then we got into round 4 and all that too. Round 5 that still, I just can't get over how many good players were in this draft, and we'll kind of hit on that as we go forward.
So what we'll do, we're going to go round by round, your favorite picks, and within that, we'll talk about over half of the drafts in this draft this year, so that'll be good. Most of your teams will be covered here. My Detroit Lions will not be one of the teams that you talk about, which I take great offense to. But I will tell you this. I not that I didn't know this before. I know that I'm a homer because I quite literally love every pick that the Lions made in the draft. You look at every one, you go, man, I love that guy, and what a great story, and I think he can actually help. That's how you know you're a homer, when you are in love with every pick of your team.
Well, the Lions just don't care about sexiness or doing that anyways. Yeah. They're going to pick their guys, what they believe in. They don't care what everybody else thinks, right? And they have a theme or whatever, a plan always, and they kind of stick to it. And one of those things for them always is big people. They like big people.
Yeah.
And listen, I know we're going to talk about the draft in general here, just like some thoughts that run through my head, just big picture thoughts. Yeah. First off, I think it's one of the deepest drafts I can ever remember. I really mean that. And I mean, I know that the top-end superstar guys were not as many as in year past, but what I'm saying is I think we can have round 2 and 3 and 4 superstars more than ever before in any draft I can remember. So many good players throughout. I was joking with you just before it started going, there's guys that got picked in round 4. They're probably a little mad and going, damn, I got picked in round 4. And I go, they're going to start. Like, they're going to start for their team day 1, or they're going to be a big-time starter some point during the first season of their NFL career. And I want to tell a lot of those, like, late round 3, round 4, early round 5 picks ago, man, you were a part of a draft that I know, talking to people in the NFL, I felt the same way. We joked about it in the process. How many times I wrote 40 to 60 or 45 to 65? I wrote it 100 times to tell you, that tells you that there was a lot of talent there to be had.
Right.
And because of that, guys that were drafted late in the 4th round in this draft, I'd go, other years, you might have been early 3rd, late 2nd, and some of the weaker drafts that we've been a part of. But for whatever reason, we saw in this draft, incredibly deep, and just the popularity of the sport. I think that's the other thing, right? I mean, we saw rounds 1, 2, and 3 where it seemed like all big people. They got to round 4, it seemed like, okay, all the big people are gone. Let's go with now the fastest people on the board. And you saw kind of a run of that. And Daniel Jeremiah said that at one point, and I was kind of like laughing because like I'm noticing the same thing, Daniel. You're spot on there, right? So there's all of that. And then the popularity of the sport, I mean, we're doing ratings that the NBA Finals are doing for rounds of the NFL draft.
The draft.
Right, for the draft. Nobody's playing. They're sitting in a room, sitting there, and we're reading names off a card, and our country's like, more, More.
Well, it was a question not 10 years ago with all the concussion stuff and CTE, and when that was in the news all the time, is that youth participation is going to be down. I think those trends have reversed now it seems like
it's crazy.
We have more talent than ever.
It's right, more talent than ever. This draft was talented. I joked with you just a little bit ago too, just because I've had these conversations a little because my son's going into high school, and my son's been a little bit like, I can't believe there's not a school where I could just go in and I know I'm going to be the man. And I've had to be like, hey, Philip, you are the man. The problem is the man is trying to play football and especially quarterback right now. There's no such thing as you're going to go to this school and there's going to be like, hey, here's the red carpet. You play freshman football, and then you'll definitely be the starter from here on out, right? That doesn't go on. It doesn't matter where you're at. The public school in town, the great Catholic schools around the area here, all the good players want to go there. They're all kids where you go, yeah, you're going to have to go there and compete. And we joked around a little bit, too, just because I noticed these things and just go, the top athletes, football right now. I mean, the majority of almost every high school you go to, the top 5 athletes in the school are all football players, right? And then, hey, here's a school that the basketball player, there's a soccer player, a bit like, okay. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying. And I'm amazed by it.
So,
the whole thing. The talent in the league is as deep as I think it's ever been before.
And it's bringing up the floor.
It's
bringing up the
That's
floor
what it is.
on the bottom.
I look at teams' rosters and just go, man, the worst team in football has kind of got a pretty good roster. And I feel like back in the old days, you could look at like the bad teams in football and go, oh, they stink. They're bad.
Yeah.
And that's why this year or any year, it's just lately, it's hard to know who exactly is going to be bad because there are so many damn good teams around.
There was something else going on in the draft. I don't know if you saw it. It was crazy. It was like Shedeur Sanders.
Oh.
Did you see that? We thought he was going to go in the first round.
Right.
He ended up going in the 5th round. I don't know if you were sticking around for that part.
Yeah, I was.
Obviously, you were. It was the main storyline. Depending on which one you watch, they talked about it all the time. You talked about it a little bit with Mike.
ESPN couldn't get off of it. So I had to change the channel a little there and watch it because they would not get off of it.
NFL Network had a hard time getting off of it.
Yeah, it's a big subject.
But it's one of those where it's like you get down to the 4th, 5th round, you haven't heard of a lot of these guys. The common fan, you are wondering about Shedeur Sanders and what's going on there. So we ended it last time on the pod with you saying, everyone chill out. He fell out of the first round. The NFL was not sold on him as a first-round quarterback, and so this is not a surprise.
Right.
Once it got to round 3, 4, and then into 5, then it became a surprise, and then you're like, what's going on?
It does. It becomes a surprise. There's a lot to unpack here, right? I feel like we were at the forefront of the conversation a little bit here going, hey, Saints at 9, Steelers at 21. They don't take Shedeur Sanders. What's going to happen?
I mean, you didn't have him in your mock draft.
I didn't have him in my mock draft. I got the sense throughout the process when I would talk to teams and other people where, again, teams aren't telling me what they like and don't like, but you could tell how people talk about certain people. And I didn't feel like this was the vibes I was getting about the quarterbacks last year, where every guy I brought up, they were like, oh, he's really good. We really like him. He's really good. We really like him. Hey, you know what I like about this one? He's really good. And so it didn't feel like the vibes were there. Then I could tell, too, within the conversations, teams were a little bit like, hey, we kind of think Jackson Dart and Tyler Shuck are right up there with him, if not better, and talking in a more glowing way, okay? So knew that was a possibility, let alone his talent. And as I've said all along, like I wouldn't have wanted to take him until the 20s, right? That's kind of what I thought he was. Even just pure film talent was end of the first round, early second round type of talent.
And if you're a quarterback and no one sold on you until the 20s, then what happened to Malik Willis a couple of years ago where it was the same conversation? It was like, I had 20 maybe. You can end up going to the 3rd round. It
happened to me. I was a guy that was supposed to go in the 20s.
I just tried to mansplain to the person
it's exactly. But it does happen that way. Okay, then let's add on the fact that there wasn't a ton of quarterback-needy teams in this draft. So now the Giants take Jackson Dart. The Saints take Tyler Shuck. And, okay, now it's like, what do we do here? The Browns weren't desperate to have to take a quarterback. Okay, we'll get into them here in a second. But what happens, too, off of that now, and this kind of happened to me, I'm not trying to compare myself to Shedeur Sanders, but a little bit of, okay, we've addressed our team. We've got our first quarterback, and we've drafted a quarterback, and we already have our backup quarterback. And most teams going into this process already had their first string and second team quarterback, except for the teams we've kind of just talked about. The Tennessee Titans, the Browns, the Giants, right, and the Saints. Everybody else is kind of set. So now it becomes, this is where it starts to hurt. So now he gets passed up. The Giants take him. The Saints take Shook, right? The Browns decide not to. They decide to address things on their team because they go, wait, we got players we got to and positions we got to address here, not more than the quarterback. So they're not thinking quarterback, but the rest of the league isn't going to just sit there and go, well, we had a high grade on him, so let's just take him in the second round now or third round. No, because what happens, and especially with a guy like Shedeur Sanders, is you are popular. There is a lot that comes with you, media attention, scrutiny, whatever, your dad, all of that. That's all that's going to be talked about. So teams are starting to go, wait, I don't want to take a third round, fourth round quarterback that's going to be our third quarterback, and he's going to overtake our team just like he's overtaking Cleveland right now as every show, and we're talking about him, and I talked about him earlier with Pro Football Talk, and I guarantee Stephen A. and ESPN's talking about it right now. No team wants to deal with that.
It's not worth it.
Not worth it. It becomes a little bit of like, hey, he's good, we like him, but for our team, he's going to be a third here at first, and we're going to end up having everybody in the locker room's going to have to answer questions like he's the best player on our team, like he's the number one pick in the draft, and we don't want that distraction. And that becomes also now on top of, yes, you fall. Now it's like, wait, but you're so good and so popular, we don't want to take you because we don't want everything that comes along with it as far as the distractions and the media hype and all that. So that plays against Shedeur Sanders and the whole situation as well.
But if the talent was what it could have, what some people thought it was, he would have gone earlier.
Okay,
is that? Would you agree with that? Because you did have him rated as the number 2 quarterback.
That's
you
right.
thought he was better than Jackson Dart.
I still do. I got no problem with that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to back down from that, right? Okay, so yes, if the talent was elite, which none of these guys' talent was elite except for one guy, Cam Ward, period. I mean, I've been very fair, I think, in saying that about all these guys all along. And yes, I like Shedeur's arm better than Jackson Dart and Tyler Shook. And yes, I think he plays tougher in the pocket and does all that stuff well too. Now, yeah, there's some things on the field that I knew I could tell you I could have been able to tell you some quarterback coaches in football. They're going to go, they're not going to like Shedeur because it's just not, he doesn't run the offense like Jackson Dart and Tyler Shook do. And there's a lot of reasons we can get into that. But either way, they see that stuff enough on film that I know some of the, let me just say, back to the pure core offensive coordinators who don't value maybe plays outside the pocket or plays off the schedule, they were going to love the Jackson Dart Tyler Shook because you see them go through reads, play in the pocket, play in a pro offense, make consistently NFL-type throws over and over, where you don't see that as much with Shedeur, let alone the big talent is in there, right? And you're not saying, wow. And then the last aspect is this. Shedeur handled this whole situation really well. I feel for him. That was a tough spot. As a dad and somebody that's been through that a little bit, I do feel for him. And I think the things he said after night 1 in the draft and how he's handled himself day 2 in the draft and then day 3, I give him a lot of credit, right? He didn't pout. He put a good face on. He said the right things. There's one thing I got to issue with. He's got to take a little bit of accountability for the situation. That for sure. You can't go to meetings and meet with teams and just go, oh, you gave me something to study, and I just said, screw you, basically. I didn't study it. Deal with it. Like, you're a quarterback of an NFL franchise. They're giving you the keys to the franchise to be the guy. They've asked a small little test task, right? Test task of take this home, digest it, so we can have a meeting the next morning, study, get on the whiteboard, do all that.
He did this for the team meet. Is this how the team meetings go usually?
Totally disregarded that process from everything you hear and basically just said, no, I didn't do it. Like, yeah, that's gonna hurt you. So now we're talking about a guy that's, yes, not the elite talent that maybe the public thought. Wait, he was already a guy that, man, there's a lot of attention and a lot of whatever you want to say, entitlement, as some people might say. I'm not saying that, but that's the words you hear thrown around that, right? I'm better than I am, puff out my chest. And then you disrespect the process in which Peyton Manning did it, Mahomes did it. It's the only thing you can control in the process is how well you're prepared to meet with these guys and put your best foot forward and be smart and be on your game and be as charismatic and do that. And then basically just to slap them in the face and go, nah, I didn't do it. So what? What are you going to do about it? Well, what are they going to do about it? They're not going to pick you. And now you're sitting there for 3 days waiting.
Yeah.
That would be my only issue with the whole process, is just a little accountability on his end. He didn't have an agent. I don't think that was a good thing. The agent would have been able to fight behind the scenes for him a little bit more. His dad is awesome in so many ways, but he's not an agent last time I checked. He's got to coach a football team in Colorado, and he doesn't know how to necessarily play that type of game. So he had some things working against him, and I feel like the public was just a little too late in figuring out. The league was kind of trying to let everybody know for the last month, hey, it's not quite what do you think? And you saw little reports here and there and blah, blah, blah. And it just all came to a head here this last weekend.
He didn't respect the process. And when you're looking for
definitely
fringes and advantages and what does this guy have that this guy doesn't have, and to connect the dots on something you said earlier, too, about the floors being raised on all these prospects. There's a lot of great players out there.
Right.
You said that you were talking about before the show, a lot of teams are telling you, we love the guy that we got, and we're looking at the guy and the football player and how much love do you have for this game and what are the edges, just because the talent is becoming equalized and there's so much good talent out there. What does separate
exactly
the best from the whatever the rest?
Right.
And it's like, oh, he's got a little bit of an edge to him. He's got a desire to learn. He showed me something.
I think we're seeing that more emphasized in the NFL in a draft year more than I can ever remember, where love of football. Right, love of football and character, and I do think it has a little bit to do with the draft was so talented, right? Maybe not at the top, but the rest of it, to where they were like, wait, player 4 on our board, he's got this flaw, and we don't know he loves football. Player 6 isn't really that far behind in our grade. It's minimal, and he loves the game, and he'll do anything he wants. Let's take player 6, the hell with player 4, right?
Yeah.
And I think you're seeing that a little bit, and and especially with that position of all quarterbacks are usually type A, psycho, OCD. Let me write my notes, 100 pages. I write script. That's how I do. Like that's what they do. I eat this for you, and then I eat that, and then I throw footballs, and then I work out, and then I eat, and then I watch film, and that's what I do tomorrow. I'm going to do that tomorrow, and then the day after, and then the day after, and then it'll be the weekend, and then I'm going to take a day off and then do it again.
And it seems like from what you're saying right there is exactly what Cam Ward said to a lot of the teams that talked to him. And so it's a lot of these same teams, and that is what Cam Ward does. There was a video that was floating out there. I think Shedeur was like, hey, you want to go make a song? He's like, I just want to play football. I don't make songs. I just play football.
No.
That's all. You saw the contrast in that one video that teams probably saw when they had the meetings with
when he's getting on Shedeur, he's going, we did one drill. You want to go get a Gatorade? Like, well, let's keep going. Let's keep working. But, yes, that's exactly what people love about Cam Ward. Gym rat, never been handed anything. He's had to take and work and earn everything he's got, right? Loves the game. When he's out in the field, he works. He's serious. He's a leader. And that's what teams want. That's what a good coach, your life depends on it. So you want a guy that you feel like, hey, their life depends on it too. It's important to them like that. And I don't think that's where Shedeur Sanders came off well in the whole process, and that's what hurt him, certainly. And then there's the aspect of the Cleveland Browns taking him. Now, the Cleveland Browns have a phenomenal draft. But here, again, is the reasons why team didn't want to take him late in the draft, because all that phenomenal draft, we're not talking about anybody else except for him. And I don't know, again, the Browns are rooted in analytics more than any other football team. So I don't blame Andrew Berry or Stefanski here. I don't know who makes this call. I mean, Andrew Berry told me a few years ago to my face, he goes, I said, is it fair to say analytics run your team more than others? And he said, yeah, that's fair to say. We rely on it more than most teams. So I don't know if they made, and by their reaction and the way it looked, yeah, it looks like Paul DePodesta, chief strategy officer, or the owner kind of said, let's do it. Or the analytics said, wait, we have this grade no matter what, we're taking him, right? But there's the human factor, and that's where they missed, to me, because here again, that's all we're talking about. That's all anybody on Cleveland's team's going to talk about for the next week. It's all anybody in Cleveland's going to talk about, period, is the quarterbacks. Hey, Dylan Gabriel did good. Hey, he didn't do good today. Should Shedeur play over him? Hey, Kenny Pickett was good. Shedeur should be behind him? Oh, no, Kenny Pickett was bad. Let's put Flacco in. Flacco wasn't good. Let's go back to Shedeur. Yeah. Hey, what about Dylan Gabriel? We drafted him before. Oh, crap, right? So they've opened up a can of worms here, too. And they also have Deshaun Watson. I just don't know if this was right for where they are as a team right now. And I'll say this too. I thought they would be a team that would make, or Shedeur, I thought was really going to get picked by a team like the Ravens or the Chiefs, right? One that said, our coaches are comfortable with their job status.
Once he fell far enough.
Right, once he fell far enough. And I kept thinking, man, go with Baltimore. Be behind Lamar. Learn how to be a pro and how you attack the game every day. I thought that would be a perfect scenario, right? And we're not going to be like, oh, should Shedeur start over Lamar, right? So they wouldn't be worried about that. There'll be no talk there. I thought it would be one of those type of teams. When Cleveland took him, I chuckled out loud. And I went, of course Cleveland took him. I think that's exactly what I said. Of course they did. And, now they got to deal with this drama, and I don't know if that's necessarily good for their team either.
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel had a few hours.
He had like 18 hours of like, yes, I got picked. They love me.
Yeah.
Now it's like, wait, they picked you? Are you sure? They picked Shedeur Sanders. Are you sure you're still there?
It's the one pick they regret now. So one thing I do know, we will learn more about this in the inner workings because a lot of people want to talk about it.
Yeah,
so
right.
It'll be fun to hear and see how it develops now. If nothing else, it is a great story moving forward to see how he does there in Cleveland, what transpires. But other teams made draft picks too.
Are you
besides
sure?
The Cleveland Browns and Shedeur Sanders. So what we're going to do, we're going to go round by round, some of your favorite picks per round. And then when we isolate these players, we'll talk a little bit about that team's overall draft and what you may or may not have liked. So let's start in round 2 because we started with round 1 in the barn. We talked all we could about that. It was an hour and 20 minutes of Connor Rogers and Chris Simms and Ahmed Fareed just hanging out talking dudes. So round 2. And we'll start.
And we got 10 top button swag.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Out.
10 top button swag. So this is what this is. So 10 teams earned your top button swag.
Top button swag. They can button their top button this week and be like, Chris Simms said we can. We're cool. We killed the draft. We can be cool like Chris Simms this week.
So as we go throughout this exercise, we will hand out 10 of your top button swags.
Right.
All right, so let's start with the 49ers.
Oh, damn, I got to call my friends John Lynch and Shanahan, tell them to button that top button.
Wait,
let's
say
go.
right away, did they earn a top button swag? Are they one of the 10?
Yes, they did. They definitely did.
They are one of the 10. You have to do that to keep your friendship going, but that's okay.
That's right.
We say round 2 here, so let's start there with them. They took Alfred Collins, the defensive tackle from Texas. That was your favorite pick?
You have best players available. He was one of our top 5 D tackles when we went through it. He was our number 4 D tackle. And I think during the process, one of the things you heard me say is like, hey, this guy, like really high ceiling, really high floor. He's one of the safest picks in the draft. And evaluators can miss on him because he wasn't asked to be disruptive, right? He's one of those guys where you got to watch closely. They just asked him to hold down the fort, make a mosh pit, do that type of stuff. There's more there. So I love this because the 49ers are getting back to what made the 49ers when you were working out in San Francisco and what got them to 2 Super Bowls and the other NFC championship games. Their defensive line specifically. Mykel Williams, big dude off the edge, watch out. Alfred Collins in the middle, big dude in the middle now. So, just there right off the bat, you go, man, Mykel Williams, Nick Bosa, excuse me, along with an Alfred Collins. I kind of like that 3 right away. There's some tremendous potential there, right? So, and Elliott Jordan in the middle or whoever it might be. It might be one of these other rookies. But I love Nick Martin, the undersized linebacker from Oklahoma State. He is linebacker / strong safety-ish type of look. I don't even know how they're going to use him, but I can see them using it as both. Flies, super aggressive, okay? Upton Stout, the cornerback from Western Kentucky, another kind of those guys, but a nickel. He's going to be a nickel that's going to fly around, tackle, and, of course, he's really quick in short spaces and got some speed. I love C.J. West from Indiana. He is a smaller, can shoot the gaps, do some of that stuff, create chaos, all of that. I love that, but also can hold it down for a smaller type of D tackle. I like all of that. And Curtis Rourke in the 7th round is a guy that I don't think if he's hurt. Right. If he's not hurt, he goes before that in this draft. He didn't get to show himself in this process with the knee injury he had in Indiana and played with them most of the year. But I thought they had a really good draft.
Which is a cool story and part of the good thing of college football with all this movement around from team to team. He goes from the MAC to Indiana. And now he's drafted by the San Francisco 49ers. They took a running back, which Kyle Shanahan is required to do every year with Jordan James.
He's going to do that. Oregon. You know that.
Were you surprised they went defense with the first 5 picks?
5 in a row. If you would have made me guess through talking out there to some of those guys, I would have guessed that defense was mostly on their radar. Would I have thought the first 5 picks? No. Okay, so but I think it's the right approach for what they need to build their team. And I think the offense has a few more pieces. And also, on top of that, Shanahan can cover some of the holes on the offense. So that's where I like this approach. These were some guys that have a chance to really be big-time contributors, start for their football team. Michael Williams, Alfred Collins, they're going to start day one. I can promise you that. I think they were phenomenal. The 49ers crushed it.
That's the bad part of Kyle Shanahan making all that money and being an offensive coach. Is like, I need more toys. Be like, no, that's why we're paying you a lot
Damn,
of money.
I know. Robert Saleh just came in. He just said, okay, I'm so happy to have you back. I'll make every draft pick for you.
You also like the Cardinals' second round. They got Will Johnson, your number one corner, falls all the way to 47 overall. Of course, you heard the reports, had the knee injury, was coming off the foot injury from the year, and so there were medical concerns with Will Johnson, but you love the player.
Oh, I do love the player. I mean, you got the best pure cover corner in the draft. Can I tell you how many teams in the 20s were like, oh, we'd love if Will Johnson fell to us, right? But some of these guys don't have the final medical report to know whether they're until they get in the meeting room that night for the draft and they go, oh, crap. Damn, I was hoping he'd fall to us. He is going to fall to us, but we're not going to take him because there's a medical issue here, right? But overall, okay, let's start like Will Johnson round 2. I don't love Walter Nolan, right, the first-round pick. But, again, I'm not going to be mad at a team and Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort and a bunch of guys that I respect for them believing in a guy. I'm not who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. But either way, they address the positional need, so I'm all for that. Then you get Will Johnson. They need a corner. They arguably get the best one in the draft. I love Jordan Birch. You know that. He's a versatile D lineman, one of the under-the-radar best linemen in the draft. Because he's not a sexy sack machine. He's kind of a DN, can play D tackle. He's one of those guys. He's really good.
Playing through an injury last year with Oregon.
Did that as well. Cody Simon, the linebacker from Ohio State, would not surprise me if he started at day one. So, yeah, I was really happy with their draft, and I think they got, with those first 4 picks, I think they got 4 guys that'll play and contribute in a big way right away.
Did they get the top button swag?
You know it.
They got. So
there's
another
talked
one.
About this early. Top button swag all the way, baby.
2 of the 10 already gone. Teams are starting to sweat it right now.
Oh, they better.
It's going to get thin here very fast, just like the draft. The Chicago Bears. You want to talk about the Chicago Bears?
Oh, yes, I do.
Benedict Johnson goes with a offensive heavy.
Benedict Johnson.
First 3 picks for Colston Loveland, the tight end out of mid. That was one of the shocks of the first round. He goes before Tyler Warren. He took one of my favorite receivers in Luther Burden, which I hate now. I have to root against him with the Chicago Bears. But they took him and Ozzy Trapilo,
right?
The offensive tackle from Boston College. Shamar Turner in the second. They had 3 second-round picks, and you liked which one of those the best?
I mean, the Luther Burden is the guy I'm scared I'm wrong on. I've told people like a few radio shows and podcasts, like, yeah, he wasn't in my top 5, and he's the one guy that didn't have my top 5 where I'm going to go, I might regret this one. I understand that. He's got DJ Moore vibes, right? A guy that can catch the ball. He's kind of built like a running back and can make big plays. But even Ozzy Trapilo, I want to give him a little credit because we didn't talk about him a lot in the process. But, again, this is a team that's, okay, we don't know what's going to happen at left tackle with Braxton Jones. Maybe this guy could be the replacement. Maybe he replaces them this year. I don't think so. But Braxton Jones is on a contract year. Big guy, kind of has a Taylor Decker type of body. So I think it's like, yeah, he might not start or play this year, but for the future, that's good. Colston Loveland, I heard Ben Johnson say it. We said it. He gives me Sam Laporta vibes. He wants a route-running tight end. That's what he values. Ty Warren's not that. Ty Warren's kind of like, just get the guy in space and then watch out. Give him the ball, and the ball in his hands, see you later. But he's not going to run some of the intricate routes Ben Johnson likes to the level Loveland's going to run them. So that's why he did that. Let alone he's a better blocker than Tyler Warren. And Shamar Turner is one of those D tackles, can be an F the play up type of guy. I mean, he is jacked. He's athletic, right? And I would think he contributes to their team pretty early on in the process, too. The Bears, between free agency and the draft, they are one of the winners of the offseason in general and definitely are in the top button swag club.
They get it too.
Oh,
so
they definitely do.
10 are now off the board.
Yeah.
So when covering the Big Ten over the last 2 years, there's been one running back that I've loved to watch play. I just love the way he runs, violent, has disregard for his body. Team leader from all I hear, Kyle Monungai.
No doubt. I'm glad you brought him up.
Last pick.
I'm glad you brought him up, and he does. He's got some attitude. Listen. I think this is their Ty Montgomery. I feel like that's what they did. They're like, we got DeAndre Swift. He's kind of our Jahmyr Gibbs. And now we're going to use this guy a little bit more of the tough break tackles, make you miss in a little short areas and do that. I think he plays faster than his 4.6 40 time. Yeah. He could be Isaiah Pacheco-ish, where you go, yeah, he didn't have a ton of big holes to run through all the time at Rutgers and all that, but you get him in the NFL, he's going to be better than people realize.
It's bad. I don't like it. I don't like it. The Chicago Bears.
The Bears.
Well, Ben Johnson, his first draft there as a head coach. We move on to the Baltimore Ravens, and they took Mike Green, who was a big faller, out of the first round, deep into the second round, 26th pick of the second round. He goes 59th overall to the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, that's the reason they're here. Or they're not going to get the top button swag award.
They don't get that. Okay.
No, they don't get it. They're like one button away. Okay. But they deserve a mention here in the fact of, one, like Malachi Starks, he's a Raven-type guy. Their secondary wasn't very good. Or I won't say very good. It was better at the end of the year. But they need to get some more young talent in their secondary. That's for sure. Starks, safety, nickel, can do all that kind of stuff. Leader, tough guy, just like the Ravens would want. I mean, to get Mike Green at pick number 27 in the second round, 59 overall, that's insane, right? So that's where I love this draft for them to get arguably maybe the second most naturally gifted pass rusher in the draft and a position you need. How can we not sit here and talk about that a little bit? They got some other good picks, certainly, but nothing jumps off the screen, and nothing jumps off the screen quite the way Mike Green does in the second round.
Tough to give him full credit on that because clearly he was not on some teams' draft boards with the off the field and the reports of the sexual assault in high school and then in college as well. So, yes, it makes sense that he fell because some teams were just not going to draft him.
No, and full transparency, when they drafted him, I was a little like, wow, I know there's some of that off-the-field stuff. They're dealing with their kicker, dealing with certain off-the-field stuff. But knowing them, they're a very detailed, diligent organization. Sure. And they wouldn't just totally go, oh, we think he's a bad guy. He's so good, though. We're just going to take him. The Ravens really don't got bad guys on their football team. If you really look the way they've run things throughout the last few years, they like football guys. They like guys that work. They love football. They've certainly shown that, and I would think that they've felt comfortable, and hopefully it's for good reasons.
No top-button swag.
No top-button swag,
worth
they're up there.
Mention.
They're up there.
Still in the second round, Cincinnati Bengals, division rival of the Baltimore Ravens. In the second round, they took Demetrius Knight Jr., linebacker, South Carolina, 49th overall.
This is, to me, one of my favorites, really. I like this. We didn't get to talk about him in the linebacker process. First off, they have an issue with Jermaine Pratt and whether he's going to be back. He wants to be traded. This guy is NFL ready right now, okay? Explosive, big boy football, going to be able to play in the AFC North. Doesn't matter who. Oh, you want to play physical, downhill football? Okay, he's going to be there for that. He's fast. Yeah, could he get a little better, like as far as coverage? I know that's the one thing people worry about him. Can he stay on the field all three downs? I don't think there's going to be a problem there. I don't. I think that was a nice pick by them. They needed something they could depend on right away. South Carolina middle linebacker, SEC football. He's going to be ready to go. He could start for them right away. Shemar Stewart, I know that they've gotten a little crap for that pick.
Oh, they have?
I think they have in the Cincinnati area. Yeah, a little bit because he only has 1.5 sacks, okay? So I want to throw some shade on that or some water on that because –
throw some shade to the shade throwers.
Well, first off, this is where I would argue with Shemar Stewart too. They need somebody that can play right now. Shemar Stewart, you're not going to have any problem there. There's no game or player or team that's ever going to be able to physically overmatch him. He's one of the safest picks in the draft. That's what I keep saying. That's one of the things I think people are missing on. Like his floor is like, well, he started for us for 7 years. That's just floor. So that's not that bad, let alone his ceiling is like Myles Garrett. So I don't know. I think that's pretty damn good. I would do it. They need it right now. I think they'll get it done with Trey Hendrickson. It doesn't matter. They still needed the other DN. They have nothing. Hubbard retired. Right? Joseph Asai is their penciled-in starter there right now. Not anymore. Shemar Stewart will be ready, and that's why I like both of these guys. They're game-ready, SEC football. You're not going to have to worry about, I think they have to work on this, and they might get overwhelmed or overpowered. They'll be ready to go. Not top-button swag.
Not top-button swag,
but one button away.
Worth a mention.
Right.
What I noticed a lot during the draft, too, is what we talked about on the last podcast when you said – You said most teams draft for need. They don't admit it. It's not cool to say that. It's not in
you
vogue
see it,
right now. You see it with the Cincinnati Bengals. You see it with just about every team. And Shedeur Sanders is not falling to the 5th round.
Exactly.
It's really
a bullshit saying that goes on in the NFL.
Yeah. Best player available at the position that we need.
Exactly. That be really the way they say it. Yeah. Or every now and then, somebody falls to a spot where you go, we're not desperate. We don't need this position, but we have such a high grade on here that we're going to just take this guy here because it makes absolutely no sense for us to pass him up. Every now and then that happens. But I think for the most part, yes, it's draft with need, and hopefully that matches up with a high-quality player, and that's when you see the team trade down or try to do something
Well, exactly, because trade downs would make no sense if you just drafted best player available, because you would just take the best
players available. You don't need to trade down. There's the best one available. Let's go. Right. You're exactly right. That's easy logic I can throw in my friend's face next time I have that conversation.
All right, how about the Denver Broncos? Yeah. In the 2nd round, they had the 60th overall pick. There's a little run on running backs going on, I think, just before this, maybe, and they took R.J. Harvey, one running back, I think number 3 or 4 for you.
Yeah, well, he was number 3 for
you.
Me. Yeah, he was. I put the top 2 in the same tier, right? Genty and Omarion Hampton.
Yep.
And then it was R.J. Harvey in the next tier.
UCF.
This is again not a one that I'm going to sit here and tell you is top button swag award, but we'd have to mention them, and the fact that this is one of the better defenses in football. You got a starting secondary, safety, nickel, whatever, and Jade Barron, right? And then you need a starting running back, and now you have one. R.J. Harvey is going to be their starting running back. He will be the guy. So I think that's where I like it. This is a team that is better than people realize. There's not a ton of holes here, and those were 2 that you looked at and kind of go, yeah, they killed it in free agency, but could they use another secondary guy? Certainly. Okay. And then you look on the offensive side of the ball, and you by far would look at their offense and go, the weakest part of their team is the running back position. And now you got a guy, to me, that can start and be a 1,000-yard rusher for you. So I love that.
Came on strong at the end of the year, too. And so
definitely.
It's like
I mean, a playoff team in a year where, they're still dealing with Russell Wilson's salary cap charges, and they still are no, they're not anymore this year. They're out of it officially now.
All right, moving on to Jim Harbaugh's draft for the Los Angeles Chargers. Had a whole lot of picks, but just one in the 2nd round, and that was one of your favorite wide receivers in the draft out of Mississippi, Ole Miss. Trey Harris went 55th overall.
Well, it's another team that I would sit here and go, I'm not going to give them the Chris Simms top button swag award.
You can't hand that out to everyone,
there's only 10 of them we're giving here. But it gets close to the top button. And it's a little bit like the team we just talked about, right? They got 2 starters. That's what I like. And 2 difference makers. We got to help out Justin Herbert. So one way, we know we got a big offensive line that has the ability to be overpowering and do that. How can we take advantage of that? Oh, that's right. We got to get a big-time running back. So they got Omarion Hampton. Now, what can we do on the other side of the ball, or as far as receivers that can separate downfield for Justin Herbert? Because we all know that was an issue with their football team last year, and there's still some questions about some of the guys that are there. Ladd McConkey, awesome. How good is Quentin Johnston going to be? We're waiting to see. There was a few moments last year, but there's also a few moments too, right? So Trey Harris starts, while hopefully Quentin Johnston comes along, and you got Ladd McConkey to go along with that, and they got Mike Williams as a fail-safe plan behind him. But I would expect that both of those guys start and contribute in a big way right away, and their offense looks totally different now with those 2 guys there.
Fat Rike 54 tweeted into us. He goes, the Chargers had a good draft. They got more dynamic and faster on offense with Omarion Hampton and Trey Harris. Also, getting a run stuffer like Jamar Caldwell to replace Poona Ford gives them more size and depth on the defensive line.
They did well, and again, like we talked about, the first few rounds still were all big people. And Trey Harris is a big receiver. And at that, one of the biggest big play receivers there are out there. Mm-hmm. And the Chargers like big people. Jim Harbaugh showed that whether he was at Michigan or the 49ers. Horvitz, his GM, came from Baltimore. Guess who they like? Big people.
Big people.
Right. So that's what they're going with. And, even Kyle Kennard, the edge player they got from South Carolina, I like him. He's got a chance to be something. And Jamari Caldwell, like our buddy said, he is a big, good run, stop, and D tackle that we didn't get the chance to talk about in the draft process, where you go, damn, there's another good player that we didn't even get to talk about that he'll probably be starting next year. And that's what I mean by this draft. There's guys that we didn't get to talk about, the public doesn't even know, and I'm going, damn, I studied this guy for an hour one Wednesday afternoon, and I'm telling you, he's a player. He just didn't make the top 5 or top 6 of the position, but you went, damn, good player, like, right? Going to start for his team somewhere in the first year or 2 of his career. And, I thought the Chargers did a good job.
All right, we're going to move on to our favorite picks of round 3 coming up next. 7 more top button swag buttons to be given out.
Special.
And maybe at the end, I just thought of this, we'll give out a golden button to the one draft that you like the best.
Okay, I like that.
All right. Just making it up as we go. Third round, 69 overall. Patriots select Kyle Williams, Washington State. Here's the reaction from the family.
Bam.
There's Kyle. Looks like he is emotional. He's thanking Chris Simms. Thanks for putting me on the map. Thanks for talking about me.
And I'm not going to share it here, but I talked to a lot of people in the NFL about him.
Yeah.
I've given you names and people, and he was widely loved with a lot of people. And just amazing to see. Yeah, this is one of the great picks of the third round. I mean, we went on a little run there, late second, third round, where it was like all my favorite players were going off the board. I was like, this is the best 20 minutes of Chris Simms Unbuttoned ever, right here.
A tear.
That's all our favorite guys are going.
Went down your face with all those guys. This is Cam Ventura, 617, who says to you, I have been begging the Patriots to draft a Simms man-crush wide receiver for years. They finally do it. In Kyle Williams, his yak ability and McDaniel's offense has potential to be special. The rest of the league should be worried. The evil empire is on the way back.
They are on their way back. They are. I mean, they're another team that I would sit here and tell you they killed free agency and they did a really awesome draft. I mean, really awesome.
Wait,
there's not much to
top button swag.
I believe they are top button swag. Yes, they are.
There we go. All right, there we go.
Yeah, for what they've done here, I mean, I think the Will Campbell and the fact of, okay, he fits the Mike Vrabel way of life, right? So I like that, and we'll see if he can play tackle. But either way, he's Vrabel culture guy. Travion Henderson,
I love him,
is without question one of the best big play, explosive players in the draft. And he's perfect with Ramondre Stevenson, who can be the in-between the tackles runner. And now we got the guy that we get in space, we get on the edge, or Josh McDaniels, who is a brilliant game designer, especially for route runners. This kid can run routes. This kid can be the Kevin Falk or the damn guy who was it that caught all the passes in the Super Bowl against the Falcons? Yes, James White. But except he's way more explosive. He's got 2 more rockets up his ass compared to those guys. So Kyle Williams, as you know, is one of the best route runners, one of the best with the ball in his hands after the catch, and McDaniel's going to be able to formulate offensive football around him. He's a kind of like a Stephon Diggs, except his physical ability is actually better than Stephon Diggs coming out. So now he's going to get to learn from him and be around him and work with him, and then hopefully take off. But I like even the Jared Wilson kid that they took from Georgia. He's going to help out their football team here soon. Joshua Farmer has some potential, the D tackle from Florida State. He's big and he's athletic. There's some things he needs to work on about holding his ground and being a little tougher. But, yeah, from those right there, I really did like their draft. I thought they killed it. They do get a top button swag award.
And the kicker from Miami is not bad either.
No.
Actually, I don't know nothing about it. I don't know, but he has to be good.
He is pretty good.
He is. He's got to be pretty good, right? They're a pretty good team there. So it's going to be hard to argue any team improved themselves more than the New England Patriots throughout the offseason.
You can
go. Got to be number one.
I mean, it's them, the Bears. I mean, they're. I mean, one. I just go. They got better from their coaching alone. Let's just start there.
Right.
Vrabel, McDaniels, better. Right. Ben Johnson, Dennis Allen, better. Right.
Yeah.
So that. Then you talk about what they did in free agency along with the draft. They've completely flipped over their team. They got guys that Vrabel's gonna like. And yes, it does look like the evil empire of the NFL is starting to get back here. and assemble the troops the right way and going to be a real pain in the ass in the AFC East.
Another third-round pick you want to talk about, a team that made a lot of news with their fifth-round pick. We've already talked about the Cleveland Browns and Shedeur Sanders, but they take tight end out of Bowling Green, 67th overall, Harold Fannin Jr.
Yeah, the Browns, and unfortunately, this is where Shedeur has hijacked the draft for them in a lot of ways. But, man, I mean, first, one of the best trades of the draft. They got a trade from the Jacksonville Jaguars where they gave them like a franchise quarterback haul to move up to get Travis Hunter. So that's got to be a part of this process. Mm-hmm. Get Mason Graham, get Carson Schlesinger, a middle linebacker. What? Mm-hmm. Like freak show there? Get a starting running back in Quinshon Judkins, and then Harold Fannin Jr., who I think was up there with Loveland or Ty Lauren as far as being the best pass-receiving tight ends in the draft. He's not going to be – he's got work to do blocking-wise. A
little smaller,
yes,
right?
But you couple him with Njoku, you go, wow. And I like Dylan Sampson at running back. He can be the backup to Quinshon Judkins right away. So, yeah, between that, Dylan Gabriel – he's got talent, can run the bootleg, the offense they run. He'll fit that. He's got a big arm. And then, of course, Shedeur Sanders. It's given them options at quarterback to figure it out through numbers. It's going to be a distraction. But, yeah, their draft was one of the best. They get a top-button swag award.
Ooh, so there's 5 of the 10.
Yeah.
Half of them have been handed out here. Yeah. So if you have not heard your name,
tell your wife to get to work because we have to send these teams T-shirts of Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Okay?
I wonder if we can get a graphic by the end of this show.
Can you get that going?
Scrambling back there. Browns, Pete notes here, got the Jaguars 2026 round 1 pick in the Travis Hunter trade. Jaguars have a 7.5 win total per DraftKings, and so that's going to be
that tells you
high.
like the middle of the draft, round pick
better.
14, 15, somewhere in there, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes, but that was a big time trade, and we've kind of forgotten what they've done with the draft because we're just talking about that quarterback they took in the 5th round.
Another third-round pick we want to highlight was one of your favorite in the draft, one of your favorite wide receivers going to the Houston Texans in Jaylin Noel, 79th overall.
Houston top button swag award, another team. Okay. 6 are gone. Bam. Jaden Higgins wasn't my favorite, okay, but I get it. I wouldn't go like, oh, you're crazy for taking Jaden Higgins in the 2nd round, right? He's not my cup of tea. We know that. But, again, big people, yes, part of that. Can run, pretty good route runner. You couple him with Nico Collins on the field, and that's going to be a pain in the ass for people who haven't figured out. How do we cover both these big guys who are both pretty good route runners? And I would say Higgins is about better route runner than Nico Collins. Nico Collins has got more explosive ability. Mm-hmm. So Higgins can kind of be, yes, work on the outside, but also I think has inside value. They get one of our favorite tackles that we talked about at the end of the process, and they're continuing to try to figure out their offensive line. And this is a guy that I think could start right away in Ariante Irsay. Mm-hmm. Right? We love him. And then there's my guy, Jaylin Noel. If you made me bet, like the Texans, the Patriots, the 49ers, the Dolphins, those are the teams I would have thought would have took Jaylin Noel. I know, having worked with Nick Caserio, he loves those type of players, right? I thought it might have been Jaylin Noel and Jaden Higgins' spot, honestly. But they get 2 awesome receivers going forward here, which, again, they need. Because if you look at them and go, well, yeah, they got Nico Collins, but Tank Dell it might be a while with that nasty injury he had to deal with here. So they need guys that can contribute right now. And they're kind of in the window. Like, Houston's ready.
Yeah.
Houston can be a Super Bowl team this year. Christian Kirk, Noel, Higgins, right? And then go along with Nico Collins. That's a pretty damn good group until Tank Dell gets healthy.
Top button swag for
Top
them.
button swag.
Did we say that's 6 now? Is that 6
I think
now?
that's 6.
Wow.
Right.
Okay, they're flying fast here. Your New York Giants now. You liked their number 1 pick, obviously,
yep.
Abdul Carter. We covered that in the barn. But this is the 3rd round section, and in the 3rd round, they took the D tackle out of Toledo, Darius Alexander, 65th overall.
One of my favorite picks of the draft. A top 5 D tackle for us. A guy that's versatile to where he can kind of do a little bit of everything on the interior defensive line. He could play shade nose or nose tackle, but that's not really where you want him. That's why they got Dexter Lawrence. But he can play all those other positions right off of him. Hey, 3 technique, sure. Oh, you want me to 2 gap and get head up on the guard or the defensive end? or maybe be a big defensive end here on this against the Baltimore Ravens and can rush the passer. So, yeah, I love that. I love the course Abdul-Carter. We got a quarterback, even though I would have rather we didn't trade up to get him. I wish we could have just sat where we are and not gave up future assets, but we didn't get killed with the trade.
No.
Get Scatterbo at running back. We need talent. We need more players at running back. Scatterbo has a chance to be something. I think a lot of people in the NFL like Scatterbo. They were just like, man, as physical as he runs and how he breaks tackles, are we sure that's going to translate for sure? Yep. But I think everybody did like him. The Giants finally just had the guts to pick him.
Dayball's like, we only need you for 1 year. This is all I got, maybe. So yeah, we need hold up for 1 year.
We need you right now to help us out.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the Marcus M'Bow, which I was shocked that he was down there in round 5, but a guy that's a really good athlete, tackle, guard, can do a little bit of all of that. So we'll see where that goes, but I thought the Giants really had a top-notch draft here.
So did Abdul Steiner, who said this to you. I like what the Giants did, but I felt the same way when they drafted Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau, and look how that turned out.
Well,
so that is a fan that has been bruised and battered.
Yeah, well, I could tell you this, right? Abdul-Carter's on another planet coming out than Kayvon Thibodeau. And you know I didn't like Kayvon Thibodeau very much, and it's one that I would say I think I'm right on that one.
Evan Neal was a surprise.
But Evan Neal was a guy I did like, for sure. And that one did not work out. I've been shocked by Evan Neal, but they didn't give him that 5th-year option. That's not going to happen. And unless he does something miraculous, this will be the last year Evan Neal's on the Giants. But don't worry. Abdul-Carter will not be, okay?
He will not be Kayvon Thibodeau.
He will not. And they get a top button swag.
They do.
That's
so
right.
7 of the 10 have now been given out.
Yep.
Dallas Cowboys now. Next up, they're hoping. They're waiting there at the door. They're seeing if that button comes down for them. You did like their 3rd-round pick, Shavon Revel, the corner out of East Carolina. It took a while. He slipped, 76th overall.
Knee injury.
Yep.
Though, how can you not love that? I had teams asking me, and I told you a little, on Tuesday and Wednesday before the draft if I thought he was going to go in the end of the 1st round.
Team like they like the talent.
So the talent's there. This is all injury related. And the Cowboys, they have a pretty good secondary, and we know that. But you know, you can't pass this up. Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland. Maybe they're not going to give Deron Bland the big price tag or the big contract going forward. He's up for it, so maybe this is why they do that. Either way, hey, you good secondary, good cover guys. You can't have enough of them. Ezeraku in the 2nd round. Are you kidding me? I mean, you couple him with Micah Parsons coming off the edge. Wow, wow, that's incredible. And yeah, I love Tyler Booker, the guard. He's a killer. They got a big, powerful offensive line. Jaden Blue, the running back from Texas.
What do you think about that?
I like that. I think that's one of the more underrated big play running backs of the draft. He's not going to break a lot of tackles. He's a guy, though, you get him the ball in space, you get him a screen, he gets a seam in the run game, he can go 80 yards to the house. He has that type of speed. So I liked all of that. But I was really impressed with the draft and just those top 3 picks, because I went, not only can those top 3 start, those top 3 to me have superstar potential, star potential, where we could go, wow, Booker's one of the best guards in the league. Ezeraku's got 12 or 14 sacks year after year, and Shavon Revel, Shavon, right? Shavon Revel?
I think Shavon.
Shavon Revel can be an island shutdown type corner.
Knowing what we know now, so in your mock draft, your 1st-round mock draft, you had Omarion Hampton going 12 overall to the Cowboys. They got to finally get one of these running backs. You know, they want to run the ball. We know that. They get the linemen that can do that. But knowing what they did in round 1 with Tyler Booker and then round 5 with Jaden Blue, you'd take that over Omarion Hampton at 12, or would you still want the elite-er running back?
I have no problem with going with the big guy.
Yeah.
I don't. I think that's what you got to worry about right now, especially in their division with the Eagles. And if you want to compete with them, and even what Washington's doing with their football team, and it's going to be Dan Quinn. He's going to continue to get that D-line going. It's a really tough one there. It really is. And, there's still a part of me that goes, they need more offensive weapons, but no, I have no problem with that. And you know me, I kind of favor the big people even as much as I love Omarion Hampton.
Urbar Stefan said to you, everyone makes fun about the Cowboys, but they are one of the best drafters out there. Will McClay running the draft for them, and so Pete notes maybe that's the reason. And Jerry and Stephen Jones kind of handle the business side of things.
Not debatable. they are one of the best drafting teams in football over the last 10, 15 years. The Jones have a great eye for talent. The Jones don't have the best feel of when to extend contracts. That's their biggest issue. Free agency, contracts, getting out in front of things, that seems to be the kryptonite of the Jones and the Cowboys family right now. You can't argue with who they draft. It's they kind of like kick ass almost every year. But unlike the Eagles, where they're like, wait, Cam Jurgens is about to be one of the best centers in football. Let's sign him now to a kind of the top of the tier market type of contract. And in 2 years from now, it'll be like 9th on the list, and we're going to go, we got like the best center in football. Yeah. That's what the Cowboys have struggled with. But was it Stefan? You're exactly right about that.
Congratulations, Urbar. You have identified something the Dallas Cowboys do well. Getting deep in the playoffs is not one of them here in recent years. So this is what you tweeted Friday from the barn or wherever you were.
I was sitting in my living room on Friday.
String of man crushes for me. They talked about Darius Alexander, your number 5 D tackle to the Giants. Harold Fannin to the Browns, tight end you liked a lot. Darien Porter to the Raiders, just ahead of Kyle Williams. We haven't talked about Darien Porter yet, so let's do that. Let's get into the Raiders. Which, by the way, did we give top button swag to the Cowboys?
No,
there?
They didn't get top button swag. They're close. They're up there, but the gold chain's still showing underneath the button, unbuttoned top button there.
All right, so here we go. A couple third-round picks for actually 3 for the Raiders in this one. Charles Grant, offensive tackle from William & Mary. Caleb Rogers from Texas Tech, another offensive lineman. But Darien Porter, corner, Iowa State, a guy that you identified that was way down on corner lists. If you looked at some of the top prospects out there and you go, I don't know that this guy's not one of the best out there.
No, I've never seen a big guy move the way he has. His big thing is just, yes, he didn't play enough. People wanted to see more film. I think the Senior Bowl, guys like Kyle Williams gave him a little issue. That was the first time he saw somebody like that. People were like, oh, the word that comes back is he got routed up a few times, right? And that's what people wanted to see from him. I think you didn't get to see that in college. It was like, did he get to play a top-tier receiver that really scared him and gave him an issue? And then how did he play after that? So that's where he is. But first off, Raiders, big people. That's the first thing I would say. Ashton Genty, small, yes, but they drafted him because they want to play big people type of football and run the ball, smash mouth, do all that. But Jack Beck in the second round, which is a little surprise to me, but yeah, big receiver. Big receiver, can make some things happen after the catch, needs a little work on route running or whatever else, but they went that way. I love Darien Porter. I mean, I love him. I think he has a chance to be a superstar. And Rogers and Grant, the guys they got after him, yeah, again, big people that way. D tackles, Hemingway, Pegues from Ole Miss in South Carolina down the line. Again, not going to start right away, but certainly can play and be part of the rotation. So, yeah, I thought they got a lot of good value picks, I would say, in this one, the Los Angeles Raiders. I mean, even the receiver they took, right? The kid from Tennessee, he's big. Like, I can't remember. Deontay Thornton, I want to say he's like 6'4", 6'5". Yeah, 6'5", ran 4.3. Right, so it's incredible how much we saw that be a theme of this draft. And
big people draft.
Certainly for them as a football team, that was their effort there.
We asked on Twitter, Norse Raider 22, who he thought had the best draft.
Yeah.
He said the Raiders.
It was a good
Surprising. They got key pieces that they needed, but the common theme was elite athletes, tough, competitive winners who have high ceilings, great first draft from SpyTech.
Yeah, and that's the kind of guys I thought they would have taken. Culture guys, let's get it going, love football. And SpyTech, even Tom Brady, I think they're from the school of Michigan, New England, Tampa Bay, again, where they're rooted in big people, and that's their beliefs there. And they're probably like, no, Pete, no, we're going with the big guy, Pete. Shut up. Yeah. We're going with the big guy. We like that. Yeah, I thought they did a really good job in the draft.
He goes, just give me that running back that I've been talking about all pre-draft process, and then you can do whatever you want after that. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, your favorite picks from rounds 4 through 7 and 3 more top button swags to be given out, including the golden button.
Your wife having to get to the printing press.
Yeah, with 10 T-shirts. The first Saturday in May, the Run for the Roses, the Kentucky Derby, this Saturday. Coverage begins on NBC at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Starts before that on USA, believe around noon. You can watch it all, NBC, streaming on Peacock. The unofficial beginning of spring in warm weather.
I love it. I love the Derby. It's one of my favorite. It is like kind of I look at the Masters and go, okay, spring weather is coming here in the Northeast. The draft, the spring is here. And then it's like you get to the Kentucky Derby. It's like the third of the trifecta of like sporting events I look forward to.
And it's great for you because all your hard work with the draft is over.
It's
you can
over.
Just relax,
I can just sit back. My daughter and I got horses already and live on a farm, so we love it. And I'll be sitting there watching you a little bit on Friday, but mostly on Saturday.
Sure.
I'll be watching like the whole day Saturday. It's one of those things that will be on the TV in my house the whole day, and hopefully I end up in the barn. Nice day here in the Northeast where I can hang out and watch it outside a little bit and enjoy it that way.
It's so fun to be there. It is probably the one event that I do where more people ask me, what's it like to be at the Kentucky?
Is that right?
I think so, you know, and I've done a whole bunch of other things, and so it's just like, it's awesome.
I don't even know the horses yet. Like, I haven't even figured out who's the big ones or whatever, but it's
Journalism
just like
is the
today.
favorite.
Journalism.
Journalism is the favorite.
Wow.
There are some speed
Fake
horses.
journalism or real journalism?
That'll be. I'm
Fake
sure
news?
that'll be talked. You know, no fake news. Journalism wins the Derby. I'm going to give that to Mike in case that happens. We'll go through it all on Saturday, and so you can follow along on NBC and Peacock. I leave tomorrow for that, but I got.
If you give that to Mike, tell him I gave that to you first. Okay.
I'll see if he likes it first.
Right,
if he goes, that's dumb.
If he doesn't, don't bring me up.
Chris said that to me. Isn't that weird? All right, so let's go your favorite picks by round. We'll go to round number 4. We've made it this far, and we have an Atlanta Falcons love here for you. So they took one of your guys, Billy Bowman Jr., the safety. So let's just start there because he's one of the maybe undersized guy, but does not play like he's undersized.
Definitely not. One of my favorite guys to watch in this. I think he, again, nickel safety hybrid. Honestly, he's got the kind of speed and hips where I think he could play outside if he really needs to. But he really is that safety nickel hybrid. That's what he's going to be. And incredibly explosive. Like, I don't even think the combine numbers do him justice. I think he plays faster than 4.42 or his 1.52 10-yard split. But also kamikaze in the run game, throwing his body around. And this is a team that kind of knows how to use these kind of football players. We've talked about Atlanta likes to play zone. They keep eyes. Just, hey, eyes, read the play. Go, fly, do that. I love that. It was one of my favorite picks of the 4th round. I like the draft in general by Atlanta.
You give them the top button
I'm
swag?
giving them the top button swag. Now, let me say this. I'm giving them top button swag because, I think the first 4 guys they took off the board are phenomenal football players. So that's what I like about it. Okay, now we can get into some depth and some conversation like we talked about. I talked about this with Mike on Friday in depth. I didn't really get to unpack this with you completely because it's going so fast during the draft. You can't even digest the trades and everything that's going on. So you're a little bit like, wait, that seemed a little much. But okay, hey, the next pick's up. We got to kind of talk about it, right? Yes. Was what they did, I mean, I'm on record Friday morning getting on with Florio going, for the second year in a row, Atlanta did one of the more questionable things in the first round. I like Jalen Walker. I think he should have been picked kind of around there, maybe a little lower. That's where I always thought. I was always going like, what, top 8? I don't know that.
Yeah.
And he wasn't my favorite. But again, he's middle linebacker, DN, 2 positions they need both there in Atlanta. And they'll figure out how to use him. Raheem Morris is the type of guy that'll have a plan to use that type of guy. James Pierce Jr. is a hell of a football player. You know I like that. But now where we can question this is, what they traded was insane. The draft charts say they got fleeced. Absolutely fleeced. The Rams dominated that train. There's no draft chart that doesn't say that, okay? I like James Pierce, though. That doesn't change it. But where it gets into the nitty gritty here is not only did you overpay to move up that far, like that's like drastic, right? Ezerike was on the board. Mike Green was still on the board. So I know that those are things that you have to take into account a little bit. But I do love James Pierce, the player. And then you get Xavier Watson, the back end, who is a ball hawk interception type of machine. That's going. This is what they wanted from Simmons last year, but he's not any good anymore. So they got this. I really do love that. And then who? I'm missing one more.
Jack Nelson, a tackle. Any offensive lineman from Wisconsin has a chance to work out.
Well, he's big, long, and he's a little bit like a Caleb McGarry that they have there a little bit as far as stature goes anyways. But, yeah, I like the draft, and especially those first 4 picks. I think they're all 4 guys that get on the field right away for this Atlanta Falcons defense.
So Atlanta gave up a round 1 pick next year to the Rams, correct?
I know. So that's where, do I not give them the top button swag for the bad
this
trade?
is what I think.
I'm more evaluating the players and what they got.
I think that is the right way to do it.
Right.
Because really, if you're evaluating a draft, you're evaluating what players they got, not necessarily the value. And if they, so I think that yes, any team that trades away future assets probably most likely had a pretty good draft this year because they've got good players. So next year, their top button swag is in danger.
It probably will not be.
The problem.
And again, I know they traded a little too much. I totally understand that. Yeah. I get that too. But I do get sick of everybody hearing about everybody's value all the time. I always want to go like, how do you know your value's right? Mm-hmm. Like, so your value's right, but the other 10 teams in football that saw it this way, they're wrong, right? Mm-hmm. Like, remember this came up with like Jahmyr Gibbs and Detroit Lions. And it's like, well, no, how about all those people that said the value was wrong there? You write an apology letter to the Detroit Lions and go, we were wrong. You should have picked them 5 spots before that. Yeah. I mean, we were wrong. Yeah. He should have gone before Bijan Robinson, right? So that's where I don't like that. But here's something tangible with a trade where we can honestly say that was a little much. But I do like the players, and I think they've made their defense a lot better there in Atlanta.
And so we have 8 of the 10, so just 2 more to give out.
2 more.
The Jacksonville Jaguars we'll talk about next. Of course, they got Travis Hunter, but we are talking about 4th-round picks right here first briefly. And they got a running back and a linebacker, Jack Kaiser out of Notre Dame. Byahshul Tuten. I think it's Byahshul.
Yeah.
Tuten.
Byahshul.
Byahshul.
Byahshul
Tuten.
You got it.
All right. 104 overall. A guy with a ton of speed they got out of Virginia Tech.
Oh, like. Would I be shocked if, like, week 5, he's the starting running back in Jacksonville? No. This could be that guy, that mid-round pick, just like Liam Cohn had last year in Tampa Bay with Bucky Irvin, where we all go, how did we miss on this guy or whatever? Like, no, this guy could be a star. Jack Kaiser is going to be really good in the middle of that defense, tough, hard-nosed, quarterback of the defense type of guy. But yes, the Travis Hunter thing is a big deal. You got to give them credit for that. I really like Caleb Bransaw, too. Another guy that, like a lot of these guys we've talked about, that nickel safety hybrid. He's not going to be outside. He's not going to be perfect matchup for every guy you cover. But when you talk about, again, like acceleration, explosive ability, aggressiveness, tackling, he's going to fit all that. So that's where I like that. I thought Jacksonville had a really good draft. I'm not giving them top button swag award, but it was just a good draft.
You also wanted to talk about the Tennessee Titans and specifically some of the guys they got in the 4th round. So they got 4 guys in the 4th round here. They got the wide receiver out of Florida, Chimere Dike. Yeah. They got the tight end out of Texas who ran the 40 with a bum ankle at the combine, Gunnar Helm. And then they got the wide receiver out of Stanford, Alec Ayomenor.
I liked it all.
And you liked all 4 of those guys.
I really did. Even a guy.
Or three of those guys.
Well, and even the guy like Kevin Winston Jr.
I was thinking of throwing him in there too. Yeah.
He might have not been one of my favorites, but he's certainly a good football player where I go, oh, yeah, he's going to fit. The Dike pick, the receiver. DK, yeah. Okay. All right. Chimere? Is that how you say it?
Chimere.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, rookies out there. I'm learning your names as best as I can.
Yeah.
But Chimere DK.
Yeah.
Chimere DK.
This is
actually
a challenge.
Works.
Go make some plays in the NFL, and Chris will learn your name.
Exactly. But I like that pick because of, like, it's got a chance to be something. You watch him and you go, oh, there's some things about his size and the way he runs it's kind of special there.
That's interesting.
But Cam Ward, I think, is a special quarterback. I like the Olufemi Oladejo out of UCLA. He's a guy that, again, that we didn't get the chance to talk about him a ton in that process because there were some other good edge guys. Mm-hmm. But a man, big, physical, muscles popping out of his ears, right? You have no questions of whether he'll fit on the NFL field and be able to handle the physicality or hold his ground at the point of attack. Gunnar Helm's going to be good in the pass game for sure. He's got work in the run game. Alec Ayomenor has a chance to, I think, be one of those surprising 4th-round picks where we look up and go, damn, the Titans, man, they're working him in the middle of the field. He's got 75 catches here with a few weeks left in the year. Yeah, Calvin Ridley's the main guy, but they find the way to get this guy the ball too. He's big. He's an incredible route runner. I could really see him carving out a spot in that offense. So, yeah, I was a big fan of what they did, a big draft for the Tennessee Titans.
That sounds like top button swag to me.
It was top button swag.
Oh, okay.
It was.
All right.
Yeah, they were a late edition top swagger there. Top button swagger, but the more I looked at it, I was like, you know what? They deserve top button swag here.
So just one more to give out, and we have two more teams to talk about. Let's go to round 6.
Yeah,
you could probably pick a few rounds for this team, as you could every year. The Eagles did it again, but we'll focus in first, at least on the 6th round. They had 4 picks in the 6th round.
Yep.
Howie loves those draft picks. They got Kyle McCord, quarterback, one of the quarterbacks.
You know, I like that.
Miles Hinton, offensive tackle, Michigan. Cameron Williams, offensive tackle, Texas. And then Antoine Powell-Ryland, an edge out of Virginia Tech, all in the 6th round.
Incredible 6th round. I mean, they always seem to draft guys where you go, okay, the guy's not perfect, but there's things about him I really like. Like I told you before we started the show, I said, would it shock me in 2 years from now if who's their damn right tackle? I don't know, I'm blanking on his damn name, the old Oklahoma Sooner. Lane Johnson, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I have 9 million names going. Yeah.
Oklahoma Sooner is the first thing that came to my mind.
It came to my mind. But Lane Johnson, if he retired in 2 years, and then we went, oh, damn, Miles Hinton's going to take over and be the starter, I wouldn't be shocked. They get guys that have traits where you go, ooh, he's got a few things to work on, but I could see that working. Same with Cameron Williams. And then the Antoine Powell-Ryland, right? He's got some physical explosiveness, and really some of my favorite bend in the draft coming off the edge. That's what I really liked about him. All right. But then, when you're amazing like they are, you get to just sit back. Oh, we'd like to trade. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, but there's nothing desperate.
Yeah.
They tried to trade up for Jahad Campbell. It didn't work out. He sat and just fell to them anyways.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It really is. So they get him to end the first night of the draft, and he's a guy that, you've heard me say it's all about his injury history, but I would go, I think he's a better version than Jaylin Walker. And then to get one of my favorite safeties and one of my favorite man crushes, Andrew Makuba from Texas, heat-seeking missile, psychomaniac, playing safety position. You wanted a guy that can, now take the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson role as the psycho in the middle of your defense? Here you go. And he's got some coverage ability. So I liked everything about it. The Ty Robinson, the D tackle from Nebraska, not sexy, but is he going to contribute on their D line next year? Yeah, he is. They just do a phenomenal job, let alone, they got a quarterback that's got some big-time potential talent, only the ACC all-time leading passer in year 1 of his career there, and some other guys that have big-time potential. I do give them the Chris Simms top button swag.
They get the last
swag.
one,
They
the top button swag.
Yes,
J. Reed 54 says to you, hey, Chris, when the media talks about the best drafts, they typically just name the teams with the most high picks. Can you talk about the strategy of putting together a great draft with picks later in the draft order? Now, what I would say about the Eagles, I am a little bit surprised because they're so deep and they're so good already.
Right.
You would look at all these picks. You'd be like, there's no way that they can keep all these guys. I mean, you can shove some to the practice squad. I'm not quite sure exactly how many you can store away. But it seems like a team like the Eagles might have the opposite strategy of just let's trade the lower picks, get as high in the draft as possible because not all these guys are going to be able to make this team.
No, I hear you. I hear you there. It's not always easy to do all of that, what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
But I think, too, what they looked at here is, hey, we got a few high-end guys that we feel like, okay, they can contribute right now, and we need them to do right now. The rest of our team, like you're talking about, we're pretty well set up everywhere. But let's start thinking for the future and a year or two down the road to where, now this guy's up. We can't pay him all this money again. Yeah. We need somebody to replenish through the system. And I think they do an unreal job of kind of balancing that. So they know when to strike to go get their guy. But yet they also never totally just go, we're going to totally forget about the future. And that's where I like about them. And I think, again, you get back into this, and no matter who I talk to in the process or you heard me talk about, everybody was in love with these 3rd and 4th and 5th round picks. And I guarantee some of these guys that we saw picked in the round 6, they're like going. Some of these teams pick guys in round 6 where they're going, we had a 4th-round grade on him. He's still here, right? And I wouldn't be shocked with some of these guys right here if they had like higher grades and they're like, it's round 6. Damn, unbelievable. We're going to get these kind of guys for the future and they develop them, and we'll see where it goes from there. They got a great offensive line coach, and he'll take care of Williams and Hinton, who have that kind of talent.
So one more team to talk about. You didn't get a top button swag award, but Chris still liked what you did in the 7th round specifically, and so this is the one team that you like what they did in the 7th round. I'm enough to mention. You know, like some teams
right.
Seahawks had 3 picks in the 7th round. One of those, a running back out of Miami, 223 overall, Damian Martinez.
I could see him being the 7th rounder that surprises everybody. Quick feet, breaks tackles, made for the NFL in between the tackles, sledgehammer type running game. Like a Zach Charbonnet in some ways. Not as quite as fast, but I would tell you his feet and the ability to break tackles are every bit as good. Just a big guy that's not sexy that, hey, I've been around the NFL a long time. It's those guys they seem to translate. You get through OTAs and you go, yeah, he's pretty good. OTAs, yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, he knows what to do. He catches the ball well. But then it's like, it's week 2 at training camp, and the pads go on for the first time. And now that guy that you went, oh, yeah, he was pretty good in OTAs. He knew what to do. He's on his assignments. He catches the ball well. You go, nobody can tackle him. Yeah. Like, people are bouncing off him. We're running 9-on-7 drills. He's running up the middle, running over a middle linebacker and getting 8 yards when everybody knows we're going to run the ball, right? So there is that. I still remember that with LeGarrette Blount. Okay, LeGarrette Blount, now he should have been drafted higher than he was. He had he punched the guy who deserved to be punched by all due accounts coming off the field, I think, at Boise State, right? But I remember we got him at Tennessee, and I kept going, okay, he runs okay. Yeah, he's pretty smooth. He's a good guy, he's smart. Man, we put pads on the first day, and Jeff Fisher was one of those guys who was like hit, like tackle to the ground. Go ahead. Football. It's football. Boop. Let's go. Set hut. And he got the ball on the first play, and I'm telling you, whatever middle linebacker ran through the middle, and he was seeing the stars. Wow. Right? He just ran them right over, and then ran like 2 other people and got like 6 yards. And I remember Jeff Fisher just turning around and like grinning at the offensive coach, just going, I love him.
That's great.
But those are that my point is that's what I think Damian Martinez can be.
Yeah.
One of those guys, and when the pads go on, we go, ooh, wow. Now, I love Elijah Arroyo, the tight end out of Miami that they took in the 2nd round. Yep. He's going to work right away. They get a freak show in Emenware as far as safety. Secondary is one of their strengths of their football team. But, man, you talk about long, speed, crazy dudes on their defense. Holy crap. That's an elite part of their team. And we know they needed O-lineman like we talked about, and I think they got one of the best guards in the draft, and Gray Zabel.
Jalen Milroe.
Well, that's what I was getting to.
See what they can do with him.
Yes. I mean, Jalen Milroe's got superstar potential. They want him to be a quarterback. No doubt. I thought maybe they would try to play him in some other spots here as he developed as a quarterback, but they kind of were pretty firm in saying that, no, he's quarterback only. This is the perfect spot. He doesn't need to be relied on. Work on your game. Sam Darnold and Drew Lock will hold down 1 and 2 for now, and then you work on mechanics and continue to be a complete quarterback. But I understand the pick. I understand them saying he's one of the top quarterbacks on our board. Again, this is a class that I said there's only one guy I loved. I wouldn't want to be pinned to any of these guys. I wouldn't have if I was a GM. But this is one guy to where you go, yeah, he doesn't read the field like Tyler Shuck or Jackson Dart or Shedeur or play in the pocket that same way. But he can make more A-plus wow throws than any of those guys. His best throws are only rivaled by Cam Ward, right? You heard me say that. His wow moments, only Cam Ward out-wowed Jalen Milroe as far as that. It's just he also had some games where there was too many moments, right? And that's what they got to fix. But, again, back to the person loves football. We're going to work. We know what we're going to get every day. They put the value in that, and they're going to trust that, hey, those good things we see from him, we think he's going to work to make that a consistent Jalen Milroe thing. and I love them for that.
2 rounds later, they got Riley Mills out of Notre Dame and covering them a few times.
Yes.
I know they really liked him up the middle, and he got hurt at the end of the year, and it
Definitely
hurt them. But that's it. So you like their draft, but you don't want to give them a top button swag?
I guess I didn't want to give them a top button swag.
You can make them another one if
you
want.
No,
Okay.
I think
I don't want to pressure you.
Yeah, well, you
anything.
are now. You put me on the spot. I like the draft. I guess where I'm not as high on Emenware as everybody else in the world.
Yeah, that's
okay.
true.
So that's a little bit where it is there. Jaylin Milroe, as much as I love the prospects of him, it's still a potential down the road pick. Right?
I'm sorry, Seahawks fan. Now I've made him have to bash your draft.
So I gave them. They're on there. They were talking about him for a reason.
I got greedy. I got greedy for Seahawks
stupid
fans.
Jerk! How dare you?
Great job, Kelsey, back there with putting in all the draft and
seriously,
boards and
Kelsey.
names
Thank
and
you for
working on it.
everybody. All the work everybody did in the back room for us throughout this whole weekend. I mean, they saved our asses, made me look smart, made me look good on social media. I appreciate that.
And Kristen has come through once again like she always does, and she has given you a top button swag award to give to one team. The golden button. The golden button. The trophy goes to one team who you say had the best. There it is right there. Oh, look at that trophy.
Wow.
Look, the golden
look at
jacket.
That.
No, it's the golden button.
I really do like that.
All the way up. I like that. That looks awesome.
Wow.
So, all right. So we're putting you on the spot here. We did not go over this beforehand. We're making you look at over 200 and something players, analyze it all in real time.
I think I know who I'm going to go with here, though. It's the 49ers, the Eagles, the Giants. I think ultimately here, though, I'm going to go with the New England Patriots.
Oh.
I am. They get the Golden Jacket Award.
Golden button award.
Golden button, golden jacket, golden button.
Yeah, maybe.
Top button swag award extraordinaires, the New England Patriots.
Yeah. Next year, we're going to hammer this all out. We're going to know what we're talking about.
I like Will Campbell.
Yeah.
And I love that he's a Vrabel type of guy. And then how can I not like Travion Henderson, Kyle Williams off of that, right? The Joshua Farmer, awesome there. Got a lot of potential. So, yeah, Jared Wilson, I wouldn't be shocked if he started somewhere during their year at starting at center. So, yeah, I'm going to give them the Golden Button Award.
Top swag, golden
swag
button.
Extraordinaire.
And don't forget, in the 6th round, they got that kicker out of Miami who's pretty good, too. So, just want to throw that in there every time.
He got the Golden Boot Award.
Here you go. The Golden Boot goes to,
right.
the kicker out of Miami. So, there it is. There's the draft. If Chris did not mention your team at all, he hates every player that your team drafted.
There was a lot of good. It just, you didn't make it on here. It really was. But I think, again, it speaks to, there wasn't many drafts I didn't like. Let me just say that. There was really, when I sit here, I wrote something about all 32 teams. When I just didn't like it, I just went, it was just okay, right? It wasn't like I was like, oh, it's so stupid, it was horrible. It was a great weekend. Well, NFL is king.
And for those people that say, it's like, oh, every team got better, you're going to say every team got better in the draft. Well, yeah, they technically did. At least deeper. They have more players now than they did before.
Definitely. And this was a high-end draft. I mean, again, not the top 20 high-end, but a lot of guys that I think maybe 2 years from now we go, why wasn't he drafted in the top 20? Why was he drafted at pick 48 or whatever else later on in the draft? I think we got a lot of that under-the-radar superstars coming to a theater near you in the NFL. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Ahmed's not going to be here Wednesday.
Nope.
He's going to be hanging out with the horses. Have fun during the whole week, all right? Don't give them your energy drink.
Yeah.
They don't want them. We don't want them tested positive for any performance-enhancing drugs,
Imagine
okay?
that.
Don't do that.
One sips of some
Ahmed gave journalism his sip of his energy drink, and now he can't run.
Yeah, that would be not good.
Because he's got something ephedrine in his bloodstream because of
Betamethasone,
Ahmed Fareed. All right, don't do that. All right, you know where to find us. We're going to talk more draft on Wednesday. Connor Rogers coming in. He'll get deep into it. And we got Devin McCourty as well. All right, subscribe, rate, review. You know where to find us. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into all our stuff all weekend in the draft. Hope everybody enjoyed it. See you Wednesday. Peace out, homies. Clap it up.
Clap it up.
Yo, homies, what's up? Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
Thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.